What's up guys, welcome back. OCG Metagame breakdown for early January 2020. So as you know, that's the new OCG Forbidden and Limited list, no OCG format. Their last format before Master Rule 2020 April 1st hits the scene. This is Eternity Code, the new set that will be released quite soon. This is the second week, I guess, into the new OCG format, right? So let's take a look, since the format is quite diverse, it has its reasons, and a couple of things caught my attention, so let's take a look, right? To refresh our memories, as you know, the OCG ban list was quite big. A couple of weeks ago it was revealed / released with only 2 cards being banned, being Azathoth and Gumlar, right? Directly hitting 2 problem cards. Same for TCG, it might happen, right? The Azathoth. 2 cards were limited, if you remember, both Zodiac Drydens, but again, we won't be seeing Zodiacs since, again, the engine is hit too big. Both TCG, well, TCG it's fine, but OCG definitely. Beginning of the end, again, hitting the Dark World Danger engine as well. And then a lot of cards that went to 2, like Maliseek, like Galatea, like Harp Horror, right? We saw Diva, Baby Sarosaurus, Tour Guide, to name quite of an important card for, let's say, Burning Abyss. Salaman Great got a small hit with Circle to 2. We see Mind Control to 2, Multi-Roll as well, which is quite important for Sky Strikers, as you'll be seeing soon. Allure of Darkness, Red Reboot, etc. all to 2. Notable cards that went to 3. We saw that Shadow Mist went to 3, Invoked Makaba. We see a lot of Invoked. Fusions are coming back, especially into the new Master Rule 2020 as well. And Reasoning and Draco Face Off also went to 3. Anyway, let's take a look at the first breakdown, well, second breakdown actually, but the first week, and also as Road of the King mentions, is that there aren't really too many big tournaments. This is pretty much only locals in this week. Only 38 decks were gathered, topped decks from like 4 tournaments, right? So that's quite of an important thing to note. Early format and not too many big tournaments, so that's something to keep in mind. This is the representation with Sky Strike leading. It has been quite a while, with Orcust as well following, being both Orcust and Orcust Trickstars again on the rise for the most obvious reasons, as you will be seeing within the next couple of moments. And then a lot of other decks, right? So many different decks like Shadows, Spirals, Thunder Dragons, etc, etc. But there are a couple of cards that again caught my attention, so we'll definitely dive into that. The first list that was featured on Road of the King was a Sky Striker build, although this particular build went 4-1-2, so 4 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, although ended up first place. So 18 teams, 54 participants. A couple of cards that caught the attention here was, first of all, Gameciel. Main decked Gameciels for Sky Strikers isn't really, you know, the most common way, and same for Dark Ruler No More. That card and the Kaijus in general are of course gaining more attention because of one card, and I think everyone already knows this one. The Red-Eyes Dragon, the fusion between both Dark Magician and Red-Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, you know, like, superb card. Personally, I didn't think it would have it would get like this big of an impact, but it does. It's really warping this early OCG format that a lot of decks are either splashing it in, as you'll be seeing again, like Pendulums, Invoked, Shadows, so many decks that are slapping in that Red-Eyes fusion thanks to Anaconda, etc. So that's again quite of an interesting tech engine, I guess, but again, a lot of decks are main decking answers to it, like the Kaijus, like the Dark Ruler No More, or, you know, like side decking it, as this Sky Striker build is also side decking Triple Dimensional Barrier, directly hitting the Fusion engine, or Fusion / Pendulum cards. So that's an interesting one. We see the Lightning Storm here in the extra deck as well, which will be released in the TCG also. Orcust got a small hit, as you saw, but it's still quite strong. Very similar lists that we see now, but most notable is the Super Polymerization in main deck, and again, as mentioned on Road of the King, is mainly because of the Red-Eyes Dragon, right? The fusion card that negates, pops stuff, deals burn damage, it does so much, so that's quite important. But that's the reason why this particular build is main decking the Super Poly in the main deck. Something different, and that might be new as well, maybe last week also, is the crossout designator. Overcall, well, yeah, not on this particular list is, but as we have seen from past breakdowns, is that crossout designator, the Call by the Grave 2.0, is gaining a lot of popularity, and people even prefer main decking it over Call by the Grave, since it's more versatile, hits impermanence as well. It hits more cards compared to Call by the Grave. So that's pretty much it for Orcust, and again, yes, side decking the Dimensional Barrier, the Commongus as well, and the Dark Ruler no more. So that's becoming much more important over Nibiru, and that's something that we might have seen coming, right? People playing Nibiru first, but then slowly, well, like changing towards the other tin promos. The third deck featured here on Road of the King was Dragon Invoked, and especially this is still Master Rule 4, but seeing that we are going into Master Rule 5 really soon and fusions will gain a lot of popularity, same for Synchro and Exceeds, is that this deck, if unharmed, will definitely be a huge contender going into the new Master Rule 5, well, Master Rule 2020. So Invoked, and as you know, like the Trickstar engine is still quite alive in the OCG with their field spell being at 3, if I'm not mistaken, but I really like this list. We see the crossout designator being preferred over Call by the Grave, as what Road of the King mentions, because, you know, it hits Dimensional Barrier, it hits Impermanence, two important cards to hit, like say the Fusion engine, for example. Triple Solemn here in the main deck, well, the small Solemn Brigade as well, but we still see the Trickstar engine, basically a one card Anaconda play, and that's where, you know, like Ash Blossom isn't really that great against Anaconda, but cards like Impermanence and Effect Failure are definitely important to prevent Anaconda from going through, if I'm not mistaken. So this particular Invoked build went 9-0-2 indeed, 9 wins and 2 draws, 0 losses in a tournament with 145 participants. So that's quite a lot of people, right? But yeah, keep this in mind. Invoked Red-Eyes, it's going to be a huge contender. Who would have thought? Dark Magicians in these Dark Magician in like a huge main deck. So that's pretty much it for Road of the King, right? A couple of other lists, a couple of other tournaments. We see, well, you know, as I mentioned before, a couple of lists here, top 8 deck lists from like a locals or tournament, a little over 180 people, so that's quite big. As the build here, main decking Red Reboots, Invoked, featuring Trickstars as well, and as we already have seen, the Red-Eyes engine. Instant Fusion, it's, well, like, you know, again, it clears a path, gives you a free monster for the Millennium Eyes / 1000 Eyes and Anaconda play. The card is so strong. We also see Shadow's on the rise because of the new structure deck. It will be released in the TCG as well really soon. But again, Master Rule 4 and the Trickstar engine. Trickstars is so good, blocks the back row and gives free monsters a free link to, going for something like, well, let's say, you know, with other monsters, but Cloth Thief, again, excellent for Shadow's, especially with Anaconda as well. So easy to be made. It's quite ridiculous if you think about it. Talked about Spirals a little bit earlier, but again, they got the new Magician, the Magician Souls, again, something that we are getting in a TCG as well really soon, but as you know, Spiral is basically almost at full force, pretty much at full force in the OCG, and it's definitely on the rise, also because of this new Magician, the level 1, right, that, you know, like gives you some draws by getting rid of those dead Spiral spells and traps in your potential hand. We also see Guard Dragons, again, nothing too spectacular, I guess, with Seyfert. Something, I guess, cute, but that's something we already have seen in the past, is that the Union Carrier is, you know, directly searching the Buster Blader Whelp, I believe the name is, that, you know, like equips from your deck to like a monster, and that prevents your opponent from using the extra deck. So that's quite of a nifty trick, and again, something not to underestimate, right? Your opponent blocking you out of the extra deck. We also see, like, again, Shadow Dragon deck, Shadow Dragon Dot deck. I like it quite, again, Shadows maybe with Invoked as well, somewhat solving the problem of Shadows not drawing into their fusion spell, but that's where cards like Anaconda and the Red-Eyes Fusion or the Invoked engine can come into play and solve somewhat of those problems. And yeah, we see Altergeist as well. Altergeist main decking the Red-Eyes engine. This already tells a lot how important and ridiculous the Red-Eyes Dragon, the fusion, is, right? I mean, if decks are already splashing this, risking, well, the quote-unquote dead draws with Dark Magician and Red-Eyes, it's that important to get that beast on your side of the field. And last but not least, we have a Pendulum deck featuring Chicken Game as well, the field spell that's still unlimited for whatever reason in the OCG but banned in the TCG. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Interesting format, but again, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, it's still very early format. Some shifts we have seen people playing are preferring Dark Ruler No More over Nibiru, and of course the Trickstar engine on the rise. The format is very diverse, but it's still very early. Not too many important tournaments. The Asia Championship qualifiers, I believe, as well, will be coming up very soon. So that's where the OCG format will start to shape. No Salomon grades. It's pretty much fallen off, I guess, but again, still locals level of tournaments, right? So that might change, who knows. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.